In today's video, we're going to learn how to make skirts, and skirts can be used on all kinds of baits such as spinnerbaits, jigs, and chatterbaits. Chances are you have not seen some of these skirt colors before. Making your own skirts is much easier than you think. Creating your own skirt colors can give you a competitive edge in tournaments. Later on in the video, I will share with you some jig customization tips and one of my all-time favorite skirt colors. The ability to customize and create your own baits is fun. Catching a fish on something you have created is very satisfying. If you want to see more content like this, drop a comment and let me know. A like, share, subscribe is always very much appreciated. Skirts will eventually break, and it's always nice to have backup skirts available. I carry this box of spare skirts in my boat at all times. I also carry some extra spinnerbait skirts in my spinnerbait box because you never know when you get pike or muskie chewing on some of the baits. They can eat those up pretty quick. This simple, inexpensive skirt making tool available at lure making supply companies is the basic device needed to make skirts. The tool comes with 3 pieces. There's basically a hook, which you will need for the skirt tab. This is to pull on. This is where the skirt material is going to go through. And this pointy cone is going to be used to insert the skirt collar onto the shaft of this tool. When you purchase skirt tabs, you'll notice that there's a solid section here and there's a solid section here. This little hook goes through there, and that's going to allow you to pull it with this piece here into the tube. Please note there are measurement markings 10, 20, 30, 40, and that will help you determine the length of the skirt in relation to the collar. As a general rule, 2 skirt tabs of standard silicone will make up a skirt. Your standard silicone skirts are here and here, but there are fine silicone skirts. They have a thinner diameter compared to the standard silicone, and you'll also notice that the width of the skirt tab is smaller. Finer silicone is more tedious to work with, and you will need to spend more time pulling these strands apart as you go through, and it will once again make the jig much livelier and billow out better. It's a more natural undulating mass when they are taken apart. This simple spinnerbait skirt is going to have 1 skirt tab of blue glimmer, and then I'm going to add this one chartreuse halo, and I'm simply going to put it on the tab, and that's just a demonstration so you can see that they are both loaded on there and they can be loaded into the skirt making tool. You can customize the color of the skirt collar, and I'm going to be making a spinnerbait skirt, so either one of these colors will work with the skirt I am making. Note the hole in the cylinder, and you can see that it's solid rubber on the outside. To load the skirt collar, you're simply going to take your cone, put it in the end, and then you're going to take your skirt collar and you just simply roll it on and pull that off. You can load multiple skirt collars at a time and just leave a little space between them. That space will make it easier to roll onto the skirt. We insert the pin into the hole, and now the hook is exposed at the end and we can put our skirt tabs on. I like to hold my finger underneath to stabilize it, and then I'll take my 2 skirts and I will stack them one over the other, and I do my best to get them centered, and again they're ready to load and pull. Let's load the tool, and here we go. We're just going to pull it in, and again I'm going to try and pull to 40, and that is right there. I use my thumb and my forefinger, and I simply roll the skirt collar onto the skirt. From there, I'm just going to grab the skirt collar and I'm going to pull the hook out and then just take the skirt off the hook. I have the blue glimmer skirt and the chartreuse halo skirt, and I have those together. Then all I need to do is just cut off the solid tabs, and now those are going to be free to undulate in the water. I need to do the same to the other side, so I'm going to bring that there, cut it as close, and there we go. Yep, I missed a little bit there. And now you've got your skirt. There it is. If you're unhappy with the position, you can pull and roll the skirt collar to the desired position. There's a better look at your skirt, and I do like to pull these individual tabs apart because sometimes they do have a tendency of sticking together, just like those 3 chartreuse ones there. And I won't go through and do it all, but you can see that once you do pull them apart, it's going to give it a better action in the water. One of my favorite sayings is the only difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. And that little extra of pulling the strands apart can make a big difference in your skirt performance. Now that you have the basic concept of how to make a skirt, you'll notice that the chartreuse is basically separated from the blue glimmer. And in the next skirt that I make, we're going to see a more even distribution, and I will show you how we accomplish that. To distribute the colors better, we're just simply going to cut the skirt tab in half. We need to cut both ends. And now we're going to have 2 pieces, one extra one there, but that won't matter. And we're going to do the same thing with our chartreuse skirt. We now have our 2 skirt tabs cut in half, and we are going to alternate them when placing them on the hook. If you have a split strand like this one here, just use the opposite end when you place it on the hook, and that will be included and not wasted. The extra strand is not wasted because it is still connected to the tab. So the tabs are alternating, the blue glimmer, the chartreuse, the blue glimmer, and the chartreuse, and then I can proceed to make the skirt just as we did before. You can see now that that space I left comes in handy. I'm going to use my thumb and forefinger to just roll the skirt collar onto the skirt. And grab the skirt collar again, pull it out, and now you're going to unhook it, and then we're going to cut them, and we're going to check out the difference between the 2 spinnerbait skirts. The skirt on the top was made with the 2 skirts, and the skirt on the bottom was made with the 4 half strands, and you can see that the color is better distributed here versus more of a chartreuse and the blue glimmer here. So will it make a difference? Maybe, maybe not, but if you want this more distributed look, then cutting the tabs in half is the way to go. Here's an old spinnerbait that I used to catch a ton of fish on, and I'm going to bring it back to life with just simply adding a new skirt. The short side has lots of material to cover the hook. Create an umbrella with the top side by folding it down. The longer part is on the shorter. And then we're going to take this and go into the center of the skirt collar. And we're simply going to take and we're going to push it up over the skirt collar. It takes a little bit of force. And there you go. And then we can trim it accordingly. But basically, I will show you the finished product after I trim it. The skirt collar is elastic, so you can use your fingers and you can pinch them around so that the skirt strands are distributed evenly around the hook. The shorter strands end basically about there, and the longer strands go over here, and I prefer to trim them to the same length. This old spinnerbait is back in action and going in my spinnerbait box. Black jigs are a standard color. All you need is 2 skirt tabs, a skirt collar, or you could choose a skirt collar with attachments for rattles, and you're going to come up with a skirt. So let's make one of those. I'm going to start my hook in from the measurement side, and I insert it in. And like I say, I like to prop it up with my finger. And I'm going to take one tab. I'm going to take the second tab. And I'm simply going to insert those onto the hook. And then I'm going to pull them through. And got to make sure I get the hook in the center there. And I'm going to come through to 40 seems to be about the right length. And I'm just going to roll that on there. Pull from the skirt tab. Disconnect. And then I just have to trim and I will have my skirt. I'm going to cut off the tabs. And do the same for the other end. And I just want to make sure that I have them equal in length. And then, sorry, I'm doing this through the camera. And there it is. You can clearly see how it is simple and easy with this basic skirt making tool to make your own skirts. The really fun part of skirt making is the ability to be creative. So let's branch out into some multicolors. This is one of my favorite skirt colors. Up here in Ontario, black, blue, and green pumpkin are what I would consider primary colors. I have 3 skirt tabs here. I'm going to use one full black. I'm going to cut a blue in half, and I'm going to cut this green pumpkin in half. And the little red flake never hurt any jig that I've ever fished. Okay, so we have the skirt collar already loaded, and we have the hook in. So we're just simply going to take, and we're going to put the black on, then the blue. And you're getting the best of these 3 colors, with black being the predominant color, and black is always a productive color. And we've got them hooked on. We're going to go to 40 again. We're going to use our thumb and forefinger once again, snap the skirt collar on, pull it out, unhook, trim, and then let's see how it ends up looking as a finished product. This color combination makes total sense with these 3 basic bass colors. Black, blue, and green pumpkin are proven colors. Blended together, they make an awesome skirt color. And some of you may be saying, why didn't I think of that? I will warn you in advance that there are limitless possibilities of skirt color combinations. As you can see here, I've got a variety of samples that I have used over the time, and you can just go wild with your imagination. Obviously, we've done sort of a black and a blue and a green pumpkin red, and you might say, okay, well, this black with this smoke purple has black in it. That would be an awesome combination. You might take some of your watermelon colors and put them together. You've got a watermelon candy here with a watermelon red flake. It just goes on and on and on, the possibilities. So you can get caught up in making a whole bunch of skirts, so make sure you have time to try them, or a good field testing team. After looking at all those color combinations, I couldn't resist. I did tie this one with the black skirt and the smoke and purple skirt, and I think it looks amazing, and I have no doubt whatsoever that it will catch bass. Those of you wondering about the skirt collar with the rattle, it's the same concept. You're just going to take that and you're just going to push that down onto the tube, and you can insert the rattles later. Adding an extra skirt is an advanced tip that will sometimes give you an advantage because it will slow the fall rate of the bait, leaving it in the strike zone longer. You can see the jig skirt on top with 3 skirts has a much thicker profile than the one on the bottom with 2 skirts. Let's add the skirts to a jig and see what they look like on the jig. The skirt is left longer on one side as opposed to the other for a reason, and you'll see that as we put it onto the jig. Grab the skirt collar from the shorter side and you're going to turn it upside down, and then you want to spread the strands out so that they look like an umbrella, and you want to get them as evenly distributed as possible. And once you are there, then you're going to take the hook point and you're going to insert it into the skirt collar here. Insert the jig into the skirt collar, or the umbrella as you might want to call it. Then you just simply push it up and push it on, and there is a collar holder here, and you just have to work that and push it up over top. And once you get it in top, then you can manipulate it, and I'll show you how to do that here in a second. Skirt collars are elastic, so you can manipulate the strands to get the umbrella even on all sides, just simply by taking and pinching or pulling the strands apart or together. Although it's not overly easy to see, the shorter skirt strand side is here, and these longer ones will billow over the top, and I'm going to trim those right here to give the skirt an even look. By pinching everything together, you can get your strands pretty even. And it's just a simple matter of snipping across and getting them so they're nice and even. Then you're going to have what looks like a more conventional jig. And I always like to trim the weed guard as well. I trim the weed guard so that it is parallel to the top of the hook. Skirt rattles can be added here and here if you so desire. I would confidently throw this 3 skirt tab jig for bass. 3 skirt tabs versus 2. Sometimes less is more, but sometimes more is more. So in all cases, let the fish decide. Beauty is you have another option here as opposed to just a standard 2 skirt tab choice. Smaller mini jigs are popular today, and I would like to make you one more jig with fine silicone material, and I'm going to use 4 strands. The strands on the fine silicone tend to stick together quite a bit, and you will have to pull these apart. It's quite annoying, but the effort is well rewarded by the results. The fine silicone skirts have a much better flow once they've been pulled apart. I have a rattle skirt collar that is holding the skirt on, but notice in my thumb and forefinger, I have another skirt collar. Hold your jig upside down and get the skirt strands from the shorter strand to umbrella around, and then you're going to push the skirt tab onto it, and it's going to help give the jig more life. It's busy and a little challenging to do, so I'm going to do it off camera, but basically I'm going to take and I'm going to push this extra skirt tab over the barb, and actually it went on fairly easy, which is good. And now what that is going to do is, as I say, it's going to give this jig extra life. Sometime I'll take my fingernails and I'll push it up even further to get it snug up there. And now when you turn your jig over, you're really going to get, once you get the strands all down, you're going to get a really nice umbrella effect on the jig. And I really think that that's a tip that's going to help you catch a lot more fish. I am going to trim the skirt length closer to the bottom of the hook. I will cut the guard down so it is less likely to interfere with a good hook set. For comparison purposes, this is the 2 skirt tab black jig, the 3 skirt tab black jig. Both these two are regular skirt tab material, and the final jig was the fine silicone material, and I used 4 skirt tabs. See how the shorter skirt tab runs along the shank of the hook? And that's with just the single skirt collar on. Notice in the jig with the extra skirt collar on, you see how you can see the shank of the hook? And the jig is just more full of life and a lot bouncier and has that much better umbrella look to it. Now that you can see how the short skirt strands are aligned with the shaft of the hook, let's add another skirt collar. Here's the jig with the extra skirt collar. I do that on all my jigs. I truly believe it makes a difference. Here's the final jig that had the 3 skirt tabs of regular silicone material with the extra collar. Please share a comment if you would like to see more lure making content. As always, if you have found this video enjoyable and or helpful, a like, share, subscribe is always very much appreciated. Take care and bye for now.